Ladies and gentlemen, good morning. Welcome to Coffee and Sports. We have a interesting morning this morning. We got Seven joining us this morning. Fellas, how was your weekend?
I had a great weekend.
Good, man.
Oh,
Good.
All right. Well, we're gonna start with Will. What you got for us this morning, brother?
Yeah, I just got one question for my segment this morning, and it is something that I've always wanted to ask Mo and Brett. If I see we got Brett down there, um, my question is this, and it looked like this guy was about to be shot to the moon, then all of a sudden WB just pulled a plug on him. Um, Mo, why do you think Montez Ford's push was dropped?
honestly, I really don't know because he's kind of got everything that WWE is always pushing, right? Like
Hmm.
incredibly athletic, he's charismatic. I mean, good looking guy, right? I mean, like he's like the total package. And if you look at him, I'm talking about in terms of his abilities, you would think that he would get the through the moon treatment that Jeff Hardy did years ago. He
Yep.
can do
Yep.
everything Jeff Hardy can do, maybe even more, and they kind of went away from that. They seem like they want to keep him mid card when there are guys that are ahead of him that are getting over with less talent or charisma.
I
I,
agree.
I think a lot of people talk about how other wrestlers refuse to put others over them. I think that's the problem in the WWE now. You have too many guys of the older guard that are like 40 or over that are not trying to give it up. That's the problem.
My thing with Montez is he's only 35. He's not someone who's quote unquote the old guard. He's still part of the new school,
Right.
Married to Bianca Belair. And I just don't understand. He was being shot to the moon with Angelo Dawkins, part of the tag team, the Street Profits. Looked like he was about to go solo. Then all of a sudden they just dropped him. I don't understand. I don't get it. Do you, it seems to me that the WWE's business model is starting to change a little bit. It started to change more from the, how can I say, from the gimmicks to more of trying to be a legitimate sport, or take the AEW route of less less comedy and more authentic wrestling, which I don't know it would work for WWE. Um, do you like that change that they're trying to uh, um initiate to more of authentic wrestling and less of the gimmicks?
I think you can blend the authentic wrestling with the gimmicks because if you just wrestle like old school wrestling like way back like the Briscoes and all those kind of dudes,
Yep.
that's not gonna people are not tuning in for that. So I do think you still have to, you want to call it gimmicks, you have to have that entertainment value, that wow
Mhm.
factor. Look, if people wanted to go to a wrestling event and see just wrestling, they'd go to high school wrestling, they go to college wrestling. If you want to see pure wrestling, I don't think people who are fans of professional wrestling go for that. There are a lot of wrestlers that are some of the biggest stars in the universe. They're not even good wrestlers at all. Like they know like one or two moves. They're not even wrestlers. So I think you can include the wrestling, but I don't think they're going to go completely away from the gimmicks because that's what brings people in. It's the gimmicks, it's the wow factor, the personalities, the people that are gifted on the microphone. People are drawn to people like that.
And that's why I think that keeps LA Knight in the mix is his charisma and his quote unquote ability on the mic. I'm not the biggest LA Knight fan either, but I think that's one thing that keeps him still relevant is the fact that he is over on the mic and he has endeared himself to the fans, so to speak. Um, but yeah, they're definitely trying to initiate a change. Do we blame TKO for that or more Triple H?
I think I blame TKO for that. I think that TKO is trying to steer Triple H away from the gimmicks and things of that nature. Look, Triple H is still the guy, but ultimately somebody else is. He's got a boss too,
Yes.
um, and so I think he has to answer to that boss or that board as well. But to the comment, yeah, I completely understand. Look, I again, I don't mind the wrestling. I don't. I like to see it every now and then. It's nice to see a professional wrestler who can actually wrestle.
Yes.
Because if you look at the women's division, there are better wrestlers in the women division than in the men's division.
Yes. I do agree. All right, Carmike. That's all I got, my friend. Thank you, Mo.
7. Bring us some of that MLB news, man. We know you got a lot to unpack, man. You look like you got some things to say this morning. What you got for us?
I have not slept more than about 2 hours because I get this weekend. I get to watch my beloved Red Sox sweep the New York Yankees, where Judge was a non-factor in 2 of the 3 games and scored the only run in the first game of this series this weekend. In the 9th inning, off of Garrett Crochet, who had pitched 8 1/3 innings and was throwing at 100 miles per hour in the 9th inning up until he gave up that home run to Judge. The Red Sox played immaculate baseball this weekend. Less than 5 hours after this series ends, my phone is blowing up because the Red Sox have traded Rafi Devers to the San Francisco Giants for Kyle Harrison, whose best work was 3 years ago when Andrew Bailey was the pitching coach of the San Francisco Giants, Jordan Hicks, who is as accurate as Helen Keller at a shooting range. We've got I think it's James Tibbs the third was a prospect, the fourth ranked prospect in MLB, an outfield prospect because Boston doesn't already have a logjam in the outfield, so let's get another outfield prospect. And then a right-handed pitcher who's not even ranked. Now, there are a few things to unpack with this trade before I let you guys tee off. And one of the hardest things for me is I've seen multiple times over the last 18 hours, people comparing this to the Luka Doncic trade in the NBA. So for the NBA fans, understand that I am coming from the place of being a Mavericks fan. That's the closest comparison that I can come up with right now. Because I've tried to come up with a way that's not to make myself feel better, and it's not working. But okay. So in the offseason, the Boston Red Sox signed Alex Bregman to a 2-year, $80 million deal. Bregman's a third baseman. Bregman's one of the best third basemen in the league. Rafi Devers, who used to play third base up until this season, was arguably one of the worst third basemen in the league. He has led the league in errors at third base 7 seasons in his career. 7 seasons. Okay. The Boston Red Sox still paid him $350 million. Devers got that Luka defense. That is giving Devers way too much credit. But the shining positive things out of this trade, the first thing that I'm happy about in all of this is that San Francisco took on the entire overinflated contract that Rafi Devers got. So that just took $250 million in salary off of Boston's books that they can now put back into a player that will have a positive impact defensively and at the plate. So that is a positive. The second thing is, like I said, Kyle Harrison, the starting pitcher that Boston got back in the trade, did his best work when Andrew Bailey was the pitching coach of the San Francisco Giants. So if they can get him back to that, that's a positive thing because Boston needs a reliable starting pitcher because Tanner Houck forgot how to pitch. No, here's the thing. Breslow and of the Red Sox are hiding. They're not even doing an actual press conference. They didn't do one last night. And today it's a Zoom call. The biggest trade of the, and you're talking about it on a Zoom call. If it was any more, okay, I can't swear. Give me a sec. Okay. All right. So Will, when you stop laughing,
I'm here for you, my brother. I'm here for you.
By the way, kiss my wife, but help me make sense of this because I need to be able to get some sleep, bro. I can't do it. help me understand. Make it make sense.
I mean, on the surface, it seems to be a salary dump to me. And on the surface of the whole thing, it seems to be a salary dump. We'll talk about it a little bit later when Bane got traded over to the Magic for KCP's contract. Basically, it seems to be more of a salary dump than it is a performance thing. They don't want to be tied to that money, and if you find a team who could take that deal, hey, you go for it. So it benefits both teams. It just doesn't benefit both teams on the field, and that's why I can understand your frustration.
Mo, help me out here.
Look, when I see a move like this, it's real simple. I always say follow the money. I always say follow the money. You're either willing to pay or you're unwilling to pay a certain amount of money, regardless to your production. And this was about money to me. Like Will said, it's a salary dump.
Yeah, I was gonna say the same thing. That's exactly what it sounds like. You know, I mean, what else could there be?
It doesn't make any sense. It doesn't make any sense for what you're getting back.
It's now at the start of the season, Rafi Devers was not happy that he was not playing third because he disagreed that he shouldn't. You know, he disagreed getting taken off of the position. He didn't want to play first base because of in retribution for the Red Sox taking him off of third, in payback for Boston taking him off of third. Rafi Devers and the front office of the Red Sox have been basically at odds since the start of the year, since training camp. And so there is a piece like it, and this is another one of those reasons why I get the Luka trade comparison, because Luka and Nico. Yeah, no, Brett, you make a valid point. Like, and he's a very proud person. He's a career 280 hitter. Red Sox Nation is freaking out over the loss of an overpaid 280 hitter. That's one of the core pieces of this. Like I've been back and forth with Red Sox fans on Twitter, X, whatever you want to call it this week, all day or all night. I had somebody tell me a cretin because I don't hate the fact that the Red Sox got rid of Rafi Devers. I wish the trade comp was better. And I think that the real value of this trade is going to be in what they do with the $250 million that they saved. So I think that there can be some good things that come out of this trade, but I got told I was not a real fan of the Red Sox because I don't disagree with moving on from Rafi Devers. The dude was a distraction. And we shouldn't break our backs over a career 280 hitter. Like that's just, is it great that he's a 280 hitter? Exactly. Like, is it great that he's a 280 hitter? Yeah, that's hard to do. I'm not going to take away from that, but he's not he's not a Gold Glove third baseman,
right?
He's not a Bronze Glove third baseman. He's barely a leather glove third baseman,
right?
He was an All MLB team member one time. He has 3 Silver Sluggers, and I will. Tonight, when we talk about this on the Sports Report, I'm going to put up the sprite chart for how Rafi Devers does in San Francisco at their stadium, and he does hit fairly well. San Francisco can take a huge leap with this as a solid bat in their lineup. This is the first. Rafi Devers will be the first player to put on a Giants uniform with multiple 30 home run seasons since Barry Bonds. The Giants can take a huge offensive leap forward. But for the Red Sox side of this, there are bigger pieces that are needed. Boston still has a surplus logjam when it comes to the outfield pieces. Roman Anthony, everybody is clamoring for Roman Anthony to come up. Dude's gotten 1 hit in 25 at-bats since he got called up on a week ago today. Yeah, the Giants and the Red Sox have this weekend. There's then they go to San Francisco, play the Giants, and then they have the Angels. So it's interesting to see how this plays out. But I have to say, I wish the trade comp was better. Like it's a better starter or a better bullpen piece, maybe. Like Jordan Hicks can throw 100 miles an hour, but the dude is not accurate. And this will be the fifth team that's tried to fix him. Boston will be the fifth team that's tried to fix Jordan Hicks. We should have gotten better compensation. Like Nico, Breslow did not shop Rafi Devers around the league to see who else wanted him, to see if he could bet better compensation. He just traded with the Giants. Those are the things that are hardest for me to process. Like I said, I'm pretty sure Will remembers earlier this year I said Boston probably needs to trade Rafi Devers a couple of times.
You did say that. Yep.
But we it's like trading a coach purse for a couple of bags from Walmart. Like we should have gotten better comp.
Bag of
That's the frustrating piece. We should have gotten better compensation.
Bag of cheese doodles and some cookies.
Yeah, that's. And we talk about another trade today in the NBA with some bonkers ass compensation. Sorry. And yeah, oh my God. All right. Somebody else's turn. I can't do this anymore.
Well, we
appreciate you, Seven.
about to switch gears here, man. I don't know if you want to call this a big trade, but Mo, we gonna go with you first, brother. Desmond Bane to the Orlando Magic for KCP, Cole Anthony, 4 first-round picks in the future first-round swap. Grade me this trade. Cups of coffee.
It's to be determined. I guess potentially it could be 4 cups of coffee. Going both ways. I think you're underestimating the fact that yes, the Grizzlies are getting back. They're getting back the 4 number 1 picks, but you're going to get back 4 number 1 picks. The Magic are going to be really good for the next few years. So how good are those number 1 picks going to be if you're getting number 1 picks from a team that wins over 50 games? So those are going to be like the number 18 or number 22nd picks. Like it sounds good, but it's not that good. So I think the winner is actually Orlando because Desmond Bane is under contract through 2028. And you get another scorer to go with Paolo, to go with Franz. He's also a guy that averages over 5 assists a game, so you get a secondary playmaker. So I get and by the way, what Memphis is doing, it isn't about the picks. They have to pay Jaren Jackson Jr. and they can't afford Bane, Morant, and Jaren Jackson Jr. The trade is about Jaren Jackson Jr. He's due up for his contract, and they're going to give him the max. So that's what it's really about.
Will, talk to me, brother. How do you feel about this trade, man? Give me cups of coffee on this trade.
I agree with Mo. It is to be determined. I will say this. I think it's the other way around, in my opinion. Look, KCP came off a bad year. He came off of his worst years, numbers-wise, in his career with Orlando. You got Cole Anthony in that deal. That's going to help Memphis. Going to help Memphis also restock for the future. Yeah, they might be low-tier picks because the Magic potentially would be a better team in the East, but you can still use those to help build your depth. I think that's a win-win for both. Bane is up there in terms of being a scoring guard. There's only been, 2 other players, I think, Joker and Bron, that scored more than him. So is he that superstar guy? No, but if you're able to get him and get KCP's money off the books, which is Orlando's biggest thing, to get that money off the books, I think it's worth it. It's a win-win for Orlando to help them be in win now mode. And it's also a good deal for Memphis because in the future, you need to build that team out. You also need to pay, like Mo said, Jaren Jackson the max. So I think it helps both teams.
So we got another guy I'm bringing in, man, and one podcast, Meaty Boys, man. Let's get his take on this trade, man. Guardy 3, welcome, man. Good morning.
Hello. My man, Brett. What's up, man?
What's up, Brett? What's up, buddy?
My man, Brett on. What's up, brother?
Hey, I'm doing great. Happy to be here.
Let's grade this trade, brother. What you got on this?
I think this is a win-win trade for both sides. When we're talking about the Memphis Grizzlies, I think Mo already alluded to it. They were able to not only restock the cupboards by getting 4 first-rounders and a pick swap, they also now have the free money to pay Jaren Jackson his max. We knew that was coming. On the flip side, those 4 first-rounders aren't really going to mean a thing. We're talking about Paulo Banchero and Franz Wagner being your centerpieces. So in 5 years, when we run through all those picks, they're going to be 27 and 28. So you're going to have even more picks to really – you can mortgage another 4 years of the future, and you'll still be fine after that. And Desmond Bane himself will only be about 31. So
Won't
your
be the
core,
oldest thing in the world.
like, you got a really young core that you're looking at here. And I think people are just underrating how good Desmond Bane really is.
Facts.
I think his stats got a little deflated because we're talking about a lot of injuries to Ja, injuries just all around that Memphis Grizzlies and instability. He had his worst playoff shooting year this year. He shot 28% from 3, which would have been the third best shooter in the postseason for the Orlando Magic this year. He brings elite shooting because I'm assuming that he's going to be closer to the 41% shooter for his career than a 28% shooter. He averaged 5 assists a game. Like, he improved as a driver. He tries really hard on defense, and that's exactly the kind of person that Orlando's getting. And not to mention, you also have not only that you want cost-controlled guys, because for the Orlando side, you have a Banchero extension coming next year.
Let me ask you this, Brett.
Correct.
Do you think Desmond Bane's production wasn't as good as it could have been because they fired their coach close to the end of the season, heading into the postseason?
I think instability all around between injuries and coaching changes just kind of hampered Desmond Bane really last year. So now I almost think he gets underrated. And not to mention, it's not 4 picks in a swap just for Desmond Bane. It's a pick to get off of Kentavious Caldwell-Pope, but also Cole Anthony has really stagnated in Orlando. $13 million a year doesn't sound bad, but when we're talking about aprons, we see the damage that it's doing to a team like the Nuggets. They can't move Zeke Nnaji, and he's only making $8 million. So the fact they have the extra picks to get off KCP and Cole Anthony, I think that makes all these picks that are getting moved out by Orlando absolutely worth it.
Let me ask a question, and I'll ask the panel: can the Grizzlies get KCP back to where he was before he went to Orlando? Because this is a big down year for KCP.
You don't have a coach, so I don't know who's gonna get him back there.
I think his skills. He has a certain skill set. He's a 3-and-D guy, so.
Mm-hmm.
Ja's going to draw attention. Jaren Jackson Jr. is going to draw attention. I think this was more about KCP getting back to where he was than the team. They brought him there. Orlando brought him there for leadership, for defense, and his ability to space the floor. And he was just bad.
Chill of himself.
I think that he goes to Memphis and gets a fresh start, but it's really on him because I think he's going to get open shots playing off of Jaren Jackson Jr.
Well, they do got rumors of that Memphis might be moving off Ja too.
I can't see that for some reason.
No, I think this trade more so, it gives them the flexibility to build around Ja and Jaren. I think going into this offseason, they had to pick which 2 of their core they wanted to build around, and they had to ship out the other one. They couldn't pay all 3 guys the max. So trading Bane, they made their choice. It's going to be Ja and Jaren Jackson going forward, and now they have a lot of flexibility to build around them with all the extra picks.
And I think for Orlando, I like it that you get the bookend forwards with Franz and Paulo. That's great. And now you add Bane. Terrific. The only problem is when you have 3 scorers like that, they're not going to all average over 20 plus a game. Somebody's going to be the third guy. Somebody's going to be the Chris Bosh.
Mm-hmm.
So we already know Paolo's number 1. So the only real question is, who's Chris Bosh? Franz, or is it going to be Desmond Bane? But one of their, like we're talking about Bane coming off a season where he averaged 19 points a game. He might average 19 next year or less. I'm just saying, and not because he's not playing well, it's because that's what's going to happen. You can't have 3 scorers like that, expect them all to put up numbers. They're not. Paolo's going to average probably close to 30 a game. I think Franz is good for 23, 24. I don't know how that shakes out. Not to mention, when you have 3 scorers like that, even though Bane is a good secondary distributor, you need a point guard.
Mm-hmm.
You need a point guard to space that out and get guys in their spots. Because if you don't get a true point guard, you're going to play a lot of ISO ball.
But the one good thing I do like about this is that the fact Orlando plays in the East, and with Boston not being what they are going to be or what they used to be, and you have to, and the Cavs will probably be back. The Knicks are still questionable. There's a good chance for them to make some moves.
That's a good thing. You brought that up, man. So who do we see topping the East next year with Boston out the picture?
I think
Guardy, go ahead, Mo. You got it.
Just real quick, I think you're looking at them. I think you just named them. I think the Knicks are going to be there. The Cavs are going to be there. The Pacers are going to be there. I think those 3 teams jump out. I'll throw one more team in there because they're going to be a year better. It's the Pistons.
Yeah,
I think the Pistons are going to be a year better.
Yeah. It's going to be interesting, that's for sure, to see what they can do. The East will be interesting this year, to say the least.
Yeah,
Brett, what you got, man?
And not to mention, too, we're talking about a Magic team that was the 3rd seed in the East before Suggs went down with an ACL tear.
Yep.
And they have other means to improve this offseason. They still have the 25th pick in the draft from the Nuggets from the Aaron Gordon trade.
Mm-hmm.
And also, Gary Harris and Mo Wagner both have non-guaranteed contracts this year. They can be voided. Why is that big? It gives the Magic access to the mid-level exception if they want to go that route. So there's still avenues for Orlando to improve. So I think it's going to be almost like a 5-way dogfight between the teams we just named. It's going to be great. I could absolutely see it being. If I had to put money on a team right now, that's tough. But you know what? I'll go with old reliable. The Cavs are a very regular season oriented team. I'll go with Cleveland.
You know what?
Know. Isn't the Cavs supposed to be moving off Darius Garland this offseason?
I keep hearing that. Why though?
I don't think he's giving them what they really want. I don't know.
Yeah.
I think what they want is they want a defensive minded guy beside Donovan Mitchell. They want another guy that can get on the perimeter, defend, and make shots. Now that's easy to say you want that person, but who's out there that's going to fill that void and be that person? Like, people don't usually give up people that can do what they're looking for.
Right.
I think the Cavs didn't get beat by the Pacers because of Darius Garland. We saw the series. Like, the defensive player of the year, Evan Mobley, he missed a couple games, but even when he played, he didn't look like the defensive player of the year in that series. Like, he didn't look the same as he did in the regular season. And that could be just a young player experiencing being in deep waters for the first time with higher expectations. I think the Cavs come back. I think they're going to be a year better. If I were in Cavs management, I'm not trading Darius Garland. I'm not going to make a panic move because it's not easy to replace a guy that can drop 20 points a game and shoot the percentages that he shoots.
Right.
Like, that's not an easy replacement. So I would opt that Cleveland more or less. I think they're going to come back pretty much the same. They might make some moves around their bench because a lot of those guys that were great on their bench in the regular season, they were awful in the postseason.
Another thing too I like about the Magic, they're fairly young. So that's another thing I like about that team. They might cause some havoc.
I don't know. I think they want to move on Darius Garland because you don't want 2 6'2" guys out there at your 1 and 2. It ain't gonna pan out well against a tall defensive team like the Pistons. You know, what they're too short in my opinion. I think they want a taller scorer for Darius Garland.
No, I know what you're saying, but that's conventional wisdom. Like, how many 2 guards in the NBA right now are big 2 guards that just overpower people in the post? Like, in this NBA, how many 2 guards operate in the post? Because there's not a lot of them. You can get away with playing a small lineup because there's not a lot of 2 guards that do work in the post.
Yeah.
Think about the current NBA. Name a bunch of 2 guards that take people into the post. Like, I think SGA does it sometimes, but he's considered a point guard, right?
Yeah.
I'm talking about two guards who actually look at a little guy and just overwhelm him because he's smaller than him. There's not a lot of those in this current NBA.
Yeah.
There's no Gary Payne's out there for sure.
So series tied 2-2. Game 5 is tonight, fellas, at 8:30 p.m. Eastern. Will this game potentially be the series tipping point for the series? Gardy, what you got for me?
I think this very much. It feels like it is, right? It's so tough to say though because OKC could win this game, but I've also at this point learned to never count out the Pacers, and OKC has shown some serious resilience as well. I will say, if I'm OKC, I'm making sure I win this one because trying to avoid elimination in Indiana sounds like an absolute nightmare. So to me, it feels like it's a tipping point, but also I feel like there's more pressure on OKC to get this one done so they don't put themselves into a 3-2 hole going back to Indiana.
Will, is this the turning point game for this series?
I don't think it's the turning point because like I said before, I did play devil's advocate, said it was going to go 7. But I still think that OKC wants to win this game. Yeah, you've won on the other team's home floor, but you don't want to let that be your catalyst for losing this one. So you need to go ahead and get game 5. If you can still this next game, great, get it over. But I still think it's going 7.
Going 7. Mo, is this a turning point game for the series?
Sure, it is. It doesn't determine who wins, but it gives whoever wins an advantage. You go up 3-2, that means you get 2 shots to win it all, right? Flip it around the other way, and everything's a closeout game from that point on. So, yeah, it is the tipping point game of the series. If I'm OKC, I think I found something in the fourth quarter. I'm going to run that pick and roll with SGA and J-Dub over and over again to the Pacers so they can stop it because they didn't really have an answer for it in the fourth quarter.
Did you like that strategy that they were sending SGA on screens to get the switches they wanted?
Yeah, they're creating the mismatches that they wanted. They're smart. That's kind of what today's NBA is. You're guarded by the primary and you go, I don't like that matchup. So you try to create a cross matchup and get a mismatch. And they were able to do, by the way, the Pacers did the same thing. They just didn't do it as well. They were trying to create a cross match and get SGA and Halliburton because Halliburton was attacking SGA and he was getting the better of him. So I think both teams are going to employ that kind of tactic. My thing is, though, OKC is better equipped to do it because both SGA and I would say J-Dub is the best player in this series when it comes to getting downhill and attacking the rim. Like, better than SGA, better than Halliburton. Like, J-Dub hasn't shot the ball well, but when he's attacked the basket, he's been a monster.
Will, what would it say for SGA if he just so happens to lose this series?
He's still the MVP, in my opinion, even if he loses this series. But it's not a very good look because when you go on as a favorite again and you come up short, it's not a very good look. But if they were to lose, this wouldn't necessarily be on him. It would be more of a team loss. So my opinion of him doesn't change, but it's still not a good look for you to go ahead and lose as the favorite.
Come on, Will. We all know when you're MVP and the leader of a team, man, it ain't a team loss. It's your loss.
I don't look at it as being him, though. If they were to lose this series and he performs the way he should perform, I still don't look at it. So if they lose and he averages 30, it's his fault?
It's gonna be the buck on him. It always falls to the MVP, man.
I just
every single time, man.
Maybe through the casuals.
Brett, what would this say about SGA, man, if he loses this series?
It says the same thing to me when, like, you see players lose their first finals all the time. It doesn't really mean much to me. I think Shea has been terrific all postseason for them, and he stepped up time and time again when they've absolutely needed it. Yep. I think there are like 27 different factors as to why that the Thunder could very well lose this series. And a lot of them start with coaching, and you can start going down the list. And Shea obviously would have his piece of the blame, but I don't believe in this whole idea of just pinning the whole blame onto one person, because I think that it'd be a whole laundry list of reasons.
Come on,
if
bro.
they
We
lost.
know how social
Mhm.
media is. We know what
Mhm.
First Take gonna do. First thing first. You know that everybody, the way social media is today, it's not like back in the day.
But that's sensationalism though. That's medium sensationalism when
Yeah.
we do that. It won't be the real basketball fans that look at it like that.
How many real basketball fans is really out there?
We got 4 of them right here.
Well, Mo, what would it say about SGA and his legacy going forward, man, if he loses this series?
So let's start with the numbers. If he finishes the series with the numbers that he's put up, the numbers will look great. But when you're in the finals, what do people look at? They look at moments, right? Did you come up big in the moment? I don't think it says that he's not a great player, but it will point out that he was kind of anointed that dude. It wouldn't be look, you can say what you want, but if you come into this series an overwhelming favorite, which they did, and you come up short, the same way you get all the credit, you're going to get the lion's share of the blame, right? That comes with the territory. I don't think you're going to put it on SGA's head. But by the way, we're going into game 5. I'm assuming he's going to play the way he normally plays, but let's say he has a horrible game 5 and then they lose a series in 6. That's a completely different narrative. So the game matters a lot, because if they win it all, doesn't it rubber stamp the season that he's had, right? MVP,
Right.
Finals MVP, that's great. But what if he loses and Halliburton is Finals MVP? I do think that when a team loses a game or a series, there's blame pie. I think SGA will get a big chunk of the blame pie, but he won't be the only one, because coaching does matter. And this is a 2-2 series, but I think it's a 2-2 series mostly because Rick Carlisle has out-coached OKC's coach.
I want to go back.
Absolutely.
I want to push back on Carmike for a second. So if SGA, great series, however it goes, 2-3 more games, great series, but everybody else underperforms. J-Dub underperforms. Chet underperforms. Everybody else underperforms. You still blame SGA?
I wouldn't blame SGA, but we all know what the people gonna say. SGA could did more. He scored average 30. Hey, he could have averaged 40. Hey, he could have pushed it an average 50.
Right.
You got, as the star, they always gonna say you need to push the bar a bit more for the slackers on your team. Like they're gonna compare him like Jordan. Jordan kept pushing, and every time his team started falling, hey, I'm still gonna keep scoring. Or you got, you know what I mean? LeBron called major. He got
did.
killed on social media when they lost to the Mavericks. They're like, yo, LeBron, you was playing passive, bro. You should have kept going. Like, as the star player, you're going to always take it from especially the way social media is. You're going to get trashed on it. Being a star is just the price you pay for being a star.
And
And
bigger picture, don't forget, OKC's a small market team. They haven't been to the finals since the Durant OKC back in 2012.
Amen.
And even though they have a loaded roster, it's not a lock they're going right back. Do you know what I'm saying? Like these opportunities to win a title, and this will be the first since going way, way back to when they were the Sonics in 79. So I do think this is big for the franchise as a whole. And so there is a certain amount of pressure on them, because winning titles is tough. I don't think SJ is going to get all the blame. Like if you stop right now, we're going into game 5. He's been the best player in this series to this point, but the series isn't over, right?
Right.
So he could. There's still time for someone like Pascal Siakam or Halliburton to step up and be the best player in this series.
True. Halliburton is leading. SGA is at the 1, and Halliburton's number 2 for winning Finals MVP right now.
I think it's between Halliburton and between Halliburton and Siakam.
Nah, Siakam's number 3 for the voting.
No, I mean right now, but what if Siakam goes for like 35 tonight and they win? Yeah, that's what I'm saying. We're not done.
True. Brett, Angel Reese has recorded her first triple-double, and she is the second youngest to do it behind Cece. If you don't know who Cece is Miss Caitlin Clark. Angel Reese posted up 11 points, 13 rebounds, and 11 assists. Why are we blowing this up? And will this start being a more consistent play from Angel Reese?
That all depends on one person, and that's Angel Reese, right? And what I mean by that is, I think when Angel Reese is at her best, is she's kind of just kicking the ball out more off those rebounds, right? I think she gets herself into trouble when she gets tunnel vision and just looks at the rim. But we just saw her put up her first triple-double. Why? She's grabbing a rebound and looking to kick out the shooter. She's running break, looking to kick out the shooter. So I think that she actually could very well replicate it. But at the end of the day, that's all going to come down to Angel. And I think Angel can absolutely do it again. But it's going to take, just kind of just keep putting that mentality in your head, like, hey, just make sure you keep getting your teammates involved. You feed yourself, but make sure you're kicking out to these shooters, get these teammates involved. So I think it's great what Angel did, and I think she can absolutely do it again. That's just, honestly, it's completely up to her.
Mo, how you feel about, social media blowing this up, but she's being named the second behind Caitlin Clark to get one? Second youngest.
She played really well, and she deserves her flowers for the game that she had. Social media it's funny because they blew it up today. Last week they were talking about rebounds. So they seem to can't make up their mind of how they want to go with Angel Reese. All I'll say is this: she's such a dominant offensive rebounder and offensive rebounding or scramble plays that if she instinctively can catch a rebound and kick it out to an open teammate, yeah, I can see her doing that again. But what I would say is that's not going to become the norm. You don't normally generate offense that way on a regular basis. So anybody that's holding out and going, Angel Reese is about to have like 4 or 5 triple doubles coming up, that's not based in reality. That's not likely to happen. Not over and over again. If you told me she was the kind of player that when you threw her the ball in the post, that she could generate a double team and do that, then I can see it happening on a more consistent basis, but she's not there yet.
Will, how you feel about Angel Reese? First triple double.
I think it's great. It shows that she can do it, but looking at her history, I just don't think it'll happen again anytime soon. But I do agree with Mo. She can get herself disciplined on the interior and start creating a double team by actually shooting the ball at a high percentage and hitting those shots, and creating that double team. Then I can see this happening again. But it's not her game right now, so I don't think this happens again anytime soon.
So I'm gonna stick with you on this one, Will. NFL.com put out the 10 best offenses going into the 2025-26 NFL season, man. I'll give you number 10. The Chiefs are predicted the 10th best offense. Do you agree with this?
They should be higher on the list. Who's before them? My God. Travis Kelce had a down year and they still perform well.
So you don't agree with them being at 10?
They should be higher.
Mo, how you feel about the Chiefs being at 10?
I think 10 is generous. I think 10 is fine.
I think they should be higher.
Look at their offense. Like Patrick Mahomes manipulated that team to get into the Super Bowl, but they weren't one of the most explosive offenses in the league. Like they don't have an explosive running game. They have average receivers. Rashee Rice is nice, but he hasn't really become a de facto dominant number one. Patrick Mahomes is great. Patrick Mahomes is a monster, but he can't throw it to himself, and he's not running the ball like that. Like, if you ask a different question, when it's all said and done, will the Chiefs be probably in the Super Bowl? I think that's more than likely coming out of AFC. But if we're going to rank their offense, just because that's what this is about, they don't have one of the better offenses in the NFL. That's just based on fact.
So you said 10th is generous. Where would you really put
I think 10th is great for what they think about what they do offensively.
No
1,000-yard receiver, no 1,000-yard running back. Mahomes himself, who, by the way, we all agree Patrick Mahomes is the best quarterback in football, yes or no?
Yes.
Yeah.
Right.
But he's not number one this year.
Correct, but I can't make up his numbers. If you look at his numbers from last year, where do you think he ranked in passing yards and touchdowns, numbers wise? Not top 5.
But the push, but just
You
to
know,
push,
the question was about their offense.
Amen. Exactly.
We can only go off of what we see. Offensively, they're not a very good offense. They're not an explosive offense. I can't make that up. It's a fact.
But my thing, and this is what me and Control agrees. You had a down year from Travis Kelce. He's dedicated himself to the gym. He's lost like 20. He's lost like 20, 25 pounds.
It's not a down year. He's old.
No. Well, I'm not saying he's not. But it looks like he's dedicated himself back to being a better player this season. Look like he's gonna go back to perform at his normal high level. You had injuries on this offensive side of the football as well. If they have all their weapons healthy, they're higher than 10. If you have all the offensive weapons,
if they have everybody healthy, what are they, 9?
I'm just saying 8 or 9 is what I'm just saying 8 or 9 is what it should be.
You know what I mean? Like what are they, 9?
I'm just saying 8 or 9. I never higher than 10.
We all like the kid. We all like the kid Pacheco, right? He a good running back, right?
Yeah.
But
I don't like his running for.
But he's not a great running back. He's a good running back. He doesn't move the needle. Like I'm just being honest. Mahomes is great. Andy Reid is a great offensive mind, but their offense as a whole, it's an average offense. Like, here's the crazy part. We can almost book that if Kansas City plays the Baltimore Ravens in the playoffs, that they will beat the Ravens, correct? We can almost book that.
Yep.
But at the same time, the Ravens offense, we're just talking about the offense or how they're ranked, is going to be much better than the Chiefs offense. By the numbers, that is a factual statement, period. Like, you can't make up that they have great receivers. You can't make up that they have a great running back. They don't. They have a great quarterback. They have an all-time great tight end who's no longer an all-time great tight end. Like, I don't care if you get in the gym all you want. Unless he's got a time machine, he can't become young again. He old.
Yeah, let's get Brett's take on this, man. Hey, but I think that's the misconception. Everybody keep thinking just because Mahomes is there, they should automatically be at the top. But Brett,
I'm not saying that. I'm just saying 10 is disrespectful. I ain't saying top 5.
Brett, what you got for me, man? How do you feel about this?
Honestly, at this point, I'm probably leaning closer to Mo. This is not a great offense. This is an offense that excelled at a defense, special teams, and situational football. I think that this is a team that you can argue is like 9 or maybe even 8 if we get really
That's all I'm
crazy.
saying.
But I think 10 is actually probably just about right for them. Like you said, they didn't have an 1,000-yard rusher. They had a 1,000-yard receiver. I don't really care if they're 1,000-year-old tight ends getting in the gym. Like, I don't think last year's just a bad year. He's just old. It happens. I think he can still be a fine situational football player. And I think that's what this offense is. It's a good situational football team that can make plays when they need them.
Who's number 9?
So I got people want to know who the number 9 team is. Number 9 is Cincinnati Bengals.
They're better. That makes sense.
Okay. They are like overall better.
You know who should be offended? Whoever 11 is.
Oh,
number 8 is the Packers. Do you agree with this? I don't know. Y'all on the fence a little bit. All right.
I'm not.
I think the Packers are definitely. I think the Pack. Look, they've got a 1,000-yard back, quarterback that puts up numbers, and one of the deepest receiving cores in football. Yeah, I think they're where they should be.
I think Bengals are low too, Cottrell.
Number 7.
Oh, hell no.
Philadelphia Eagles.
I think they should be further up. I think they should
be further up too.
Guess who's number 6?
Who's number 6?
Broncos country. Let's ride.
Really?
We're talking strictly. We're talking strictly offense.
I don't agree with that one.
Oh, hell no.
Maybe that's the problem. You know what? You just named a team that I think the Chiefs offense is better than.
Denver? Oh man.
Number 5, Detroit Lions.
Okay.
I'm okay with that.
Okay, I'm all right with that. I'm all right with that.
Number 4, Mr. Sensational, his first year, Jaden Daniels and the Commanders. We're talking strictly offense here.
I think that's high. I don't think they're gonna be that good again.
bet with a full season and then to be studied, I don't think they'll be that.
Nah.
And then they got Scary Terry with a contract situation. So
Yep.
we'll see
And
how
then-
that works out.
Yep.
Number 3 is the Ravens.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right. I can deal with that.
Number 2, Tampa Bay.
Really?
Huh?
I'm trying to figure that one out. I love
look.
Williams. Don't get me wrong, but I don't know.
Love the running back. Love Mike
I don't know,
Evans. That's
I don't know,
really
man.
high. That's really high.
Do I
I
think
don't-
Tampa Bay's top 10? Sure. Number 2?
Yeah.
Absolutely not.
You trust
Yeah.
Baker like that? You trust Baker like that? Oh, I
I
don't
like.
know.
Oh,
I
I
like,
think-
I like Baker.
I think you can argue them in the top 10 easily without a question. I just don't
I just
think you
don't
can
think
put them
number
at
2.
2.
I just don't think number 2.
Boy.
And the number 1 best offense going into 25-26 season is the Bills.
Assuming you keep James Cook, right? Because I know they're trying to hit him on the block.
I think the Bills are in the top 10. I don't think they're number 1. I don't think they're going to be number 1 offense. I don't agree with that.
They're the number 1 offense, man.
Man, with the way that list was going, I was just waiting for like the Chargers to be number 1.
Don't do your boy Justin Herbert like that. Guardy, come on, man.
All jokes aside, I thought you were going to say the Bears and I was going to lose it, but all right.
Hey.
All right.
But I'm trying to figure out what is it and I'll ask you guys, is them moving James Cook more the fact James Cook want a new deal?
Yeah, he wants a new deal.
And
Okay. I wonder why they were talking about him being moved.
That's a solid Godwin Evans. I forgot they got Ibuka.
I'm not arguing anything about their weapons. I'm not even, remember their running back is sensational, but your orchestrator is still your orchestrator. I don't think Baker is as good an orchestrator as some of the other guys ahead that he's ahead of.
Agreed.
I like Baker.
Agreed.
Nah, I like
Bill,
Baker. But
he
nah.
said the Bills offense is a singular hair better than the Chiefs. I don't know.
It might be a singular head, but they put up a lot more production, and their tight end ain't old as dirt. So. I'm just saying.
So, Guardy, let's talk about the Agent 48. You know Agent 48? Agent 48, aka the Extender. He's under a lot of fire right now because if y'all know who that is, that's his nicknames, the infamous Scott Foster. He's catching a lot of heat at the Game 4, man. How do you feel about this?
I just love, listen, give Rick Carlisle all the credit. This man is playing like 5D chess. He made sure to come out and go, listen, Scott, he's doing a great job. He knows what he's doing. He's trying to make sure those foul calls are going his way in Game 5. Let's be real. That game went exactly like I thought it would. Like, are people surprised at this point? Scott Foster always seems to have a heavy whistle to whatever team is down in the series. Like, that's the way it's always been. He didn't get the nickname the Extender by accident.
Facts.
So, like, to me, it was just like another just Tuesday for Scott Foster. Like,
Mo, how you feel about Scott Foster catching heat after Game 4?
Him catching heat, I don't have a problem with that. There's going to be criticism, but to Brett's point, if you know the history of Scott Foster and how he calls series, this is him. I think this is him being consistent. This is him being true to himself. He kind of has a heavy whistle. He has earned the nickname the Extender. And look, if you're an NBA fan and you love basketball, you should love Scott Foster.
Yup. Amen, brother. Amen. Say it again.
So, Will, you on Scott Foster's side, Will?
I'm on Scott Foster's side. I'm down for a good conspiracy. I'm down for it. We all know whose staff he used to be a part of back in the day.
oh, yeah.
We know.
Kevin Durant. Mo, he got 3 preferred destinations: Miami, San Antonio, and the Rockets. And as of what I've seen recently, that the Timberwolves have become another one that has topped all of them. How do you feel about KD on either of these teams?
Let's start with the basic. because of how he plays and his skill set, he can fit in any system. So he can fit with all those teams. The team that can absorb him and not have to give up their core and have the assets are the Spurs. It's that simple. Like that, in terms of going to a team, still keeping your core intact and still having assets, nobody can do what the Spurs can do. If you send him to Houston, you're going to have to give up a couple of those young pieces and some picks. If you send him to Minnesota, I don't even know what you're giving up that Phoenix would want. Like, what are you offering? Because if you're offering Julius Randle for Kevin Durant,
All right,
I'm hanging up the phone.
Here's the potential package. It will be Julius Randle if he opt into his contract, which would be $31 million. Dante DiVincenzo, and I'm guessing a few picks.
I ain't taking that deal.
I'm not taking that deal. If I'm Phoenix,
Hell no.
I'm going straight. Like I said,
Well, hang up the phone.
The Suns management said something really smart. They kept true to that. They're going to make a deal that works best for the franchise because that's the kind of deal it should be. And the team that can offer them the most is San Antonio. It's not even close.
Will, what you like about the KD's destinations, and what team could he potentially make them a contender?
I love him going to the Spurs with the talent they already have and that youth they already have. I love him going to the Spurs.
Wemby ain't been healthy.
I love him going. What?
Wemby ain't been healthy, so that ain't gonna work out for them.
Bro, he can be hurt for any team. You don't necessarily have to be where he go to. When you go to Detroit, he can get hurt.
But let's be clear: the kid had blood clots.
Yeah.
He's on the other side of that now. He's actually healthy. So
Didn't blood clots pick out Chris Bosh?
Yeah, but
those are his lungs.
Right.
That was
That's
like
a completely different thing. Right.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
Right.
I think he'll be great in San Antonio. I think he'll be a great Spur with Castle, Wemby, Fox.
No, they're going to have to give up Fox.
They're going to give up Fox. Yeah, I'll probably give up.
No,
they're not giving up. They're not giving up Fox.
they'll give up like Keldon Johnson or Devin Vassell, Harrison Barnes, like number 14 pick.
Yeah,
and that's about it.
Right, and maybe that's why Phoenix is hesitant because the Spurs let them know from the gate the number 2 pick is not in the equation.
Brett, talk to me about KD's potential landing spots, man. Where do you like him going?
I agree with both of them. The answer is the Spurs. I think the fit's just the best, and I think the other fit that's the best. We can talk about how he fits offensively, but defensively, none of the teams have a Wemby to cover up for any KD deficiencies as he ages. KD can give you 28, but obviously people are going to try to pick on him as he gets older on the defensive side of the ball. None of these other teams have a Wemby to just completely cover for him and erase shots in space like Wemby can.
What about the Rockets? They have been very good defensively. They just don't have scoring.
Yeah. So
I just can't see him as
I'm not 100% sold still on Sengun, the rim protector. I'm not sure if that was just a great year because all of a sudden he jumps from like an average defender to this really good defender, and I need to see another year from it out of Sengun before I'm like fully invested in that idea. He was great this year. I'll give him credit.
He was.
And what are they giving the Suns a return other than the picks? Like, I'm just saying, like
the Rockets.
We only look at one side of the trade. What the Suns would want in return?
The speculation is it could involve Jabari Smith, Dylan Brooks, Reed Shepard, and Jake Londale in a 2027 first round.
I'm not doing that.
I ain't taking none of that, Flash.
KD's 37. Like,
I ain't taking none of that. No.
Oh, you don't have to sell me on that he's 37. I've made the point. All these people that think that
he's older.
He get there.
Hey,
I gotta chill.
We really got to torture Suns fan. Give them the big three of a Booker, Beal, and Jalen Green. Straight volume shooting.
Knowing their owner, he'd sign up for that.
He probably would.
Oh, man, it's been a great morning. I appreciate everybody stopping through with us this morning. Brad, appreciate you coming through. Tony, we also appreciate you coming through. Brad, you got any closing marks for our people?
No, I'd say it was great hopping on. Rare Monday appearance for me. Hopefully be on a couple more of these. Thank you guys for having me.
Appreciate
Will, you got any closing marks for our people?
Don't forget to check the Sports Report podcast tonight at 10 p.m. Eastern. You're going to get the true rant from my boy Seven. The true rant on Sports Report tonight on that Boston Red Sox trades. Definitely check out the show.
And as always, if you mow better, y'all will do better. Close us out, big dog.
Thank you guys so much for joining us this morning. Make sure you check out all the great content we have at Wire to Wire Network. Wire to Wire Network, we appreciate you.